Listen, my lovelies, every time you over-explain yourself, apologize for nothing, or bite your tongue to avoid conflict, you're proving my point. And I know because I've been there. You're not searching for clarity, you're choosing safety. You're terrified of being misunderstood, and it's costing you your voice. The question is, how much longer are you willing to choke on your truth? Welcome to Manic Episode. I'm Manic, and this is where I evolve out loud, unpolished, unapologetic, and unbothered. Every episode, we embrace our infinite paradox, the messy, cosmic, beautiful journey of becoming. I just want to throw this out there. Most of the concepts and stuff I shared didn't just arrive yesterday. They've been with me for a very long time. I'm one of those people who keep thousands of notebooks. I highlight the books that I read. I have Post-its everywhere. And I've been collecting these little thoughts, quotes, words for a very long time. This is a journey of becoming, and I'm not sure where it ends, but I can tell you that I have been on it in one way or another for a very long time. Written words have always been my outlet, my safe space, the way of trying to make sense of everything I've lived through, and more importantly, the way I communicate. But the truth is, words don't always land the way I intend them to. If you're into energy work or spirituality, you've probably heard of the throat chakra. And when it's unbalanced, it shows up as fear of speaking, difficulty expressing yourself, insecurity, and self-doubt. That's been me more times than I'd like to admit. Obviously, I've done a lot of dumb things in my life, and most of them were rooted in insecurity and the ache of being misunderstood. But here's the shift. This podcast, this moment, this choice to speak, it's not just about putting words out into the world. It's about reclaiming my voice. It's about practicing honesty in real time. It's about trusting that my words don't have to be perfect to be powerful. So if you've ever silenced yourself, if you've ever swallowed your truth because you thought no one would get it, or if you've ever second-guessed if your voice mattered, just know you're not alone. And maybe, just maybe, finding your voice isn't about waiting until it feels polished. Maybe it's about speaking anyway. The beauty of life is that every single one of us has a story worth telling. But that voice in your head, the one that minimizes your journey, that convinces you to stay quiet, needs a mute button. Because no matter how you choose to express yourself, you will be misunderstood. That's not something to fear, it's just a guarantee. And if someone is determined to misunderstand your words, they will. So speak anyway. I mentioned earlier the throat chakra, that when the throat chakra is out of balance, it can show up as fear of speaking, insecurity, or self-doubt. And here's the thing, I don't just mean in a spiritual sense. There's actual science behind this too. When you feel anxious about speaking up, your body goes into fight or flight mode. Your nervous system activates, your throat tightens. Sometimes you even get that lump in the throat feeling. The brain's fear center, the amygdala, lights up, making self-expression feel like a threat. And because the vagus nerve runs right through the throat and chest, tension there can literally change how your voice comes out. So whether you call it the blocked chakra or just the way your body reacts to fear, the effect is the same. You stop trusting your voice. But here's the good news. There are ways to clear the blockage, to soften the fear, and to strengthen your voice. Some of them are really simple. Use your voice daily. Sing, hum, chant, or even just read something out loud. It doesn't matter if you sound good. What really matters is that you're practicing expression. Work with your breath. Try deep breathing or humming breath, which naturally calms the nervous system and relaxes the throat. Or write them, then speak. Journal your thoughts, then read them out loud to yourself. It's like creating a bridge between your inner world and the outside one. Release physical tension. Open your chest, stretch your neck, roll your shoulders back. Your posture affects your ability to breathe and speak clearly. Shift your mindset. Stop chasing perfect words. Instead, chase honest ones. The goal isn't flawless expression. It's authentic expression. And if you get symbolic with it, wear the color blue, the color of the throat chakra. or carry stones like lapis or aquamarine. Even if you don't believe in crystals, sometimes holding something physical helps anchor you in your intention. There is a unique heaviness that comes with being misunderstood. It's not the same as being ignored, it's heavier, sharper. Being misunderstood feels like someone is looking at you, hearing you, and yet choosing to twist your words and your truth into something you didn't say, you didn't mean, and you don't embody. Over time, this way can keep you quiet. It can teach you that silence is safer than trying. But here's the paradox. If you stay silent to avoid being misunderstood, you end up misunderstanding yourself. You abandon your voice, you betray your truth. The real wound is not that others misinterpret you. It's when you begin to distort your own expression in hopes of making yourself more palatable. The science of psychology and the language of spirituality both point to the same truth. Being misunderstood is inevitable, and yet speaking your truth is essential for both your mental health and your spiritual growth. The fear of being misunderstood is primal. From an evolutionary perspective, humans are wired for belonging. To be accepted by the group once meant survival. Rejection or misunderstanding meant danger. Our nervous system still carries this wiring. Modern psychology shows us how this fear plays out. Some people are more prone to interpreting ambiguous reactions as rejection. This makes them avoid expressing themselves. Neuroscientific research demonstrates that social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain. Being misunderstood, even if subtle, can literally hurt. Behavior psychology suggests that we internalize early messages about ourselves. If we were misunderstood as children, if our emotions or words were dismissed, we carry that imprint into adulthood. So when you hesitate to speak because of the weight of misunderstanding, it isn't a weakness. It's your nervous system doing what it was trained to do, protect you. Spiritual traditions across cultures acknowledge this tension. Mystics, prophets, and seekers have always been misunderstood, sometimes even persecuted, yet they spoke anyways. Many spiritual truths are inherently paradoxical and beyond linear logic. That means misunderstanding isn't just possible, it's guaranteed. People see you through the lens of their own unhealed stories. Often, they're not even misunderstanding you, they are misunderstanding themselves reflected through you. From a spiritual perspective, speaking your truth, despite the risk of misunderstanding, is a form of alignment. You're choosing authenticity over approval, soul over ego. To be misunderstood then becomes almost sacred. It's proof that you are no longer living as a copy of someone else's expectations. Interestingly, modern psychology also confirms the power of expression. Studies show that writing openly about difficult experiences improves mental and physical health. Expression itself heals even if no one else reads or understands. Research in positive psychology consistently links authenticity, living and expressing your true self, with higher life satisfaction and resilience. Somatic psychology suggests that speaking up regulates the vagus nerve, calming the nervous system and preventing the buildup of suppressed energy. In other words, your voice is medicine. Silence may protect you from being misunderstood, but it can make you sick in subtle, long-lasting ways. So how do we carry the weight without being crushed? Accept that misunderstanding is inevitable. No matter how carefully you choose your words, someone will hear them through the filter of their own story. That filter may distort, dismiss, or twist your truth, and here's the hardest part to accept. You can't control that. The more you try to manage other people's perceptions, the farther you drift away from your center. Instead of chasing universal understanding, a goal no human will ever achieve, you can choose peace, and knowing that misunderstanding is a natural part of the human interaction. From a psychological perspective, this practice rewires your nervous system. Instead of interpreting every misunderstanding as rejection or even danger, you begin to see it as natural. That person is interpreting me through their lens. From a spiritual perspective, it's surrender. Trusting that your words and presence will reach who they're meant to reach, and that distortion doesn't diminish the purity of your truth. When you release the expectation of perfect clarity, the weight of being misunderstood becomes lighter. It no longer defines you, it simply exists as a part of being human. Ground yourself in self-understanding. Being misunderstood hurts most when you aren't fully anchored in yourself. If you're not sure who you are or what you mean, another person's distortion can shake you to your core. That's why the antidote isn't convincing others. It's deepening your own clarity. Self-understanding is an ongoing practice. Psychology gives us the tools like journaling and therapy to peel back the layers of conditioning and reveal what is truly yours. Spirituality offers practices like meditation, shadow work, embodiment, rituals that reconnect you to the deeper self, beneath the roles, labels, and expectations. The more fluent you become in your own inner language, the less destabilizing it feels when others get you wrong. Their misunderstanding doesn't become your identity, it becomes a reflection of their distance from their own clarity. The deeper you go within, the more unshakable your truth becomes. Speaking your truth doesn't have to be a grand performance. In fact, waiting for the perfect moment to make a big declaration often leads to more silence. Expression grows stronger when practiced in small, everyday ways. It may look like telling a friend how you really feel instead of saying it's fine. It might mean writing a caption that reflects your actual expression instead of what you think will get the most likes. It might mean not forcing a laugh at a joke that cuts against your values. These small acts of integrity build trust with yourself. Psychologically, this is how confidence develops, not in one sweeping moment of bravery, but through repeated micro acts of alignment. Each time you choose honesty over convenience, your nervous system learns that you can survive expression. Spiritually, each small act of truth is an offering. You are honoring the voice of your soul, showing the universe that you are willing to be a vessel of authenticity, even in ordinary moments. When someone distorts your words, it's easy to take it personally, but most misunderstandings aren't about you at all. They're about the other person's unhealed stories, fears, and projections. From a psychological standpoint, projection is when someone unconsciously attributes their own feelings or traits onto another person. For example, if they feel insecure, they may interpret your confidence as arrogance. If they've never been allowed to express anger, your boundary setting might look cruel to them. From a spiritual lens, this is shadow work in action. What people accuse you of often reveals the parts of themselves they have disowned. Their misunderstanding is a mirror of their inner world, not your failure to communicate. When you can hold this perspective, you stop internalizing their distortion as your truth. Instead, you can ask yourself, what does this reveal about them? What does it invite me to learn about myself? Misunderstanding then becomes a tool for growth and not a wound you have to carry around forever. You are not meant to be understood by everyone, but you are meant to be understood by someone. The weight of misunderstanding becomes much lighter when you have even a few people in your life who see you clearly. It's about a shared frequency, not sameness. It doesn't mean surrounding yourself with people who agree with every word you say. It means finding those who can hold space for your essence without demanding that you shrink or translate yourself. Psychology shows us that authentic social support regulates our nervous system, and builds resilience. Spiritually, it's about energetic alignment. When you're around people who live authentically, their frequency activates yours. Follow your curiosity. That content, the conversations, or spaces that make you feel alive are breadcrumbs leading you to your people. Choose depth over numbers. A community can be a circle of 2 or 3 individuals, and it does not have to be a crowd of thousands. Allow imperfect belonging. It doesn't mean erase all the differences. It simply means you can be whole in someone else's presence. Build what you can't find. If you don't see a community that feels like home, create it. Start the conversation, host the gathering, share your truth online. Others will find you. When you know there are spaces where your voice lands and is received without distortion, the sting of being misunderstood elsewhere no longer feels unbearable. You are simply reminded that your truth is not wasted. It simply belongs to the ones that are ready to hear it. The fear of being misunderstood is heavy, but the silence that follows is heavier. Science shows us that self-expression is vital for mental and physical health. Spirituality reminds us that misunderstanding is the cost of walking your own path. To speak anyway is to claim your place in the world as you are, not as someone else wants you to be. You will be misread, misquoted, misinterpreted, but you will also be remembered as someone who dared to show up as you are. So speak, even if your voice shakes, even if your words are twisted. Speak, because the silence is the truest form of self-betrayal. And remember, being misunderstood by others, survivable. Being untrue to yourself is not. The weight of being misunderstood will always exist, but it doesn't have to crush you. When you accept it's inevitable, anchor into your self-understanding, practice daily acts of truth, see projections for what they are, and surround yourself with the right people, you transform misunderstanding from a burden into a teacher. Speaking anyway becomes not just an act of courage, but an act of liberation. So if you've been silencing yourself, if you've been holding back words out of fear of being misunderstood, let this be your reminder. Your voice matters. It doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. That's the practice I'm committed to here. Showing up, speaking anyway, and letting the words land where they land. If that resonates with you, stay with me, keep tuning in, and we'll figure this out together. Subscribe, follow, hit whatever button is in front of you. Just don't stay silent. Be part of the conversation. You can always start sharing your journey in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in to another Manic episode. If you felt this, you're already part of the frequency. Welcome.